So we're leaving San Juan de Ortega. We're heading out early today because Burgos is a larger city, but it's pretty far out. It's about 17 miles. So it's not the longest run we've done, but it's a relatively long one and we want to get there. And today's a festival. It's a Saturday and they're celebrating the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, local holiday. So we left early. San Juan is an almost obligatory stop because of the mileage and there's nothing else large nearby, but it is a tiny village. It's the smallest we've been in. I think I might have mentioned it in yesterday's video. Population 8. There was the little rural hotel that we stayed in, 2 bars. That bar in Spain, bar is like not bar, a pub, but bar/cafe, not really restaurant, although they have tables. Very, very limited menu. So it's, and not a lot to see, 2 tiny churches. So there's not a choice. Not everything is gonna be idyllic, but it was okay. Clean, neat, whatever. Now we're marching. I'll flip the camera here in a second and continue. So we're continuing on this semi-rocky but compact road, and it goes most of the way like this. We got a little herd of cattle up here, and the scenery, we're out of the trees because we kind of came down off of that little hillock mountain thing that we climbed forever yesterday. But clear day, no signs of rain. It is going to be sunny, but hopefully we'll keep getting that nice light breeze we had yesterday and have a pleasant walk. Buen camino. Of the day we're approaching. It's 7:30, so we've already been walking for about, this should tell me, 45 minutes. One of the good things about starting early in the morning is that the first 2 hours just kind of disappear because I don't know, feels like you're still almost in an altered state of consciousness, still a little bit asleep. And so you can knock out 30% of your walk without even realizing it. Food for thought. So just a word to the travel planner. We just walked 2.2 miles from San Juan de Ortega. We're in 𝗥𝗡 now, A-G-E. And it's a much bigger village. I'm gonna flip the camera. As you can see here, got a mural, little albergue. We passed the bar on the way in. There's another over here, the Alchemist, and 2 albergues down there, and you can see a steeple off at the end there. So if you're planning your trip, I know that yesterday's walk was a little on the long side, but for 2 extra miles, 49 minutes, you can stay in something that's a little bit more populated with more options for, you can see the murals down there. There's another bar. So yeah, I mean, if I were to do this again, which we may, we're talking about it, I think I'd do the extra 2 miles and book it here. So the next village after 𝗥𝗡 is called Atapuerca, which we're going through right now. And it's even larger. It's 3.8 miles from where we slept last night. And it looks like it's got even more amenities and so forth. So again, when you're planning, take a look at that online and see what's available in terms of hotels, or talk to if you do it like we did, talk to your travel company and just say that you want to go a little bit further that day, because at the end of the day, your next day, the one we're doing now, to Burgos will be shorter. But you can see here behind me, we're passing through the plaza, which isn't giant, but this is significantly more of a village than where we stayed last night in San Juan de Ortega. So just a friendly tip. So we're marching along. We've been up for we're walking for about an hour and a half. Nice little herd of sheep there. We're going up the mountain now, a little bit of uphill, but today's relatively flat, going into Burgos, which we'll get some shots of when we're there, so you get an idea of what it looks like. But it's a decent sized town along the size of Logroño or Pamplona that we passed. The big ones along the way are Pamplona, then Logroño, then Burgos, then León, and then I'm not sure, but there's a few more after that. So on the route today, there are two different forks, well, several forks, but two major ones that you got to kind of watch out for. The first one, just leaving San Juan de Ortega, you want to head toward Atapuerca, which is the newer route. Both are listed on the app. One goes upward, one goes downward, based on the map orientation. One more north, one more south. So you want to take that one. And then the second one we have not done yet, but we've spoken with several people along the way, including a gentleman who's from Burgos, which is our destination today. And he indicated that there are two when you get close to Burgos. One is Castañares, which is to the south, and the other one is Villafría to the north. Don't go Villafría, he says, because that takes you past the north end of the airport and like a big industrial sort of section of town. And the Castañares route to the south is newer and prettier. You go along the river and more scenic. And they both end up meeting again in the city. So you're getting to the same place at about the same distance, but one is much, much nicer than the other. So we're going to take the Castañares route on the way in, and I'll try to remember to take a little bit of video so you get a sense of what it looks like. So here's an albergue along the road to Burgos, and I put it up just because since we're not staying in them, I don't really know the pricing, but this one's advertising same as the last one we saw, €5 for the night. So that must be somewhere close to standard, at least in May of 2024. It's funny, we're just talking to these folks that passed us now that are from Australia, and they were saying what we were talking about last night, which is that you don't appreciate the enormity of what you're getting into with this. And I say it in the sense that, you know, it's just walking, right? And I mean, if you look at what we're walking on right now, I mean, it's a nice little paved road and it's not too hot, but 13 miles a day, every day, you get to the point where you know your speed in kilometers and miles per hour. You actually start to be able to measure distance by sight, which is something I just don't use in the States. I don't look and say, oh, look, we're 3 kilometers from that next village. And you start to get a sense for that as well. But there is a lot to it, especially when you think we're on day 12 now of a total of, I think we did the math last night and looked at the schedule, and it's a total of 34. I think I've been saying 35, but it's 34 when we actually get to Santiago. So today we're actually a third of the way there, which is a lot. But then, you know, if we've done 12 at the end of the day today, that means we still got 20 days to go, which is a lot of days. Anyway, more soon. So we just crossed that highway back there, and this right here is the bifurcation, bunch of trash bins, and everyone's going straight, or most of them, but we got the inside scoop that this is the better route. So we will find out shortly if it's true. So getting into Burgos, we go a little past the airport and hit the Blue Trail, which is the one that goes along the river. It is slightly longer, but the other two options, one goes through an industrial park The second one goes right along the main road, like a highway, not a highway, but in between, like a large thoroughfare. And this blue one, even though it's a little bit more in terms of distance, goes along the river, trees, breeze, quiet. So I think it's definitely the right choice. So just had lunch at this little place on a plaza here. They're having looks like a first communion celebration over there. Kids were all dressed up in pretty little dresses and sailor outfits. And it's a shame that this palace is being renovated. I mean, not a shame that it's being renovated, but that it's all scaffolded so we can't see it. Beautiful building. But we're gonna head over to the cathedral.
Was from San Juan de Ortega to Burgos. Burgos is a good sized town, about 180,000. So today was kind of eventful in terms of stuff to know. The first thing is that and I mentioned this already earlier, but I'll just throw it out there. There are two good spots to stay after San Juan de Ortega that are a little bit larger. So take that into consideration when you're planning. The second thing, when you're leaving San Juan de Ortega, whether you stay there or you go on, the route splits. And if you're using the app, you'll see that there are two different ways that you can go. You want to take the route that takes you through a town called Atapuerca. So if you just look on the app, you'll see that that's the route you want to go. To the other route goes to almost no villages. We didn't go that route, but the other route was fine. The second thing is there's a second bifurcation where you're getting close to Burgos. You'll come to a part of the road where you cross a highway. And I want to mention this because it was kind of uncomfortable. So there's basically like a crossover, like you'd see a typical flyover in the US that's got guardrails for the vehicles. And you go up the side outside of the guardrails with kind of a pretty steep drop to your left and a very narrow trail. It was kind of uncomfortable. You get to the peak and then you kind of step up and there's a blue railing between you and the vehicle guardrail that you go along, which is still kind of uncomfortable, but kind of manageable. Then you step back down on the next bit and you actually have to climb over the guardrail onto the road to finish that little strip. And there's nothing indicating that you have to climb over it, just that the trail basically ends and you're either going down into the vehicles or going over the guardrail. So that was not a happy moment. That's the first time we've experienced something like this on the Camino. Then almost immediately after that, you come to a second bifurcation. To the left is, and I've got some video of it, is the route that goes to Castañares. To the right is Villafría. And we talked to a lot of people, including a guy that actually lives here in Burgos, and said, go the Castañares route because it takes you a little bit through town and past the southern end of the airport, but then you get to the river and you walk along the river on this beautiful park all the way into town. If you go to the north side, you go around the north side of the airport, but then you go through 2 or 3 industrial complexes, basically, which are pretty nasty. So we went the south route, and it was very, very nice, very pretty, all the way into, basically leaves you right in the center of town. And then the last thing I'll say is this is a larger town. They've got a gigantic Gothic cathedral. And I've seen a lot of churches from the Vatican to 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Zaragoza to, I mean, all over the world. And this thing is amazing. It's very, very well kept. You pay €5 if you're a pilgrim to go in and see the thing. We didn't do the audio tour, which comes included in the €5. We just kind of walked it. If you do the audio tour, I'm told it takes about an hour and a half. Just walking through, kind of glancing and taking a few photos here and there. It probably took us about 25 minutes to get through the whole thing. But it's definitely worth seeing. And I will, tomorrow I'll talk a little bit about some of the local foods here. We're going to get some photos of those, so I'll do that in another segment. Buen camino.